Hey guys, my name is Nick and welcome back to the channel, and in this video we finally wrap up our series on AETAOS'RAU'KERES and go in depth. This is where I take a good look at his stats and see how powerful this guy actually is. So we're going to go through all of his data slate and then we'll have a look at can we make him any better, let's be honest. And are there any sensible ways to try and mitigate him should you face him in a regular game of 40k? This doesn't include Apocalypse, where he has a very different rule set. So we're going to ignore Apocalypse and just have a look at how he performs in a regular game of Warhammer 40k. Let's get straight into the video. As usual with my in-depth series, we're going to start with AETAOS'RAU'KERES' data slate. Now you won't find him in any codex, you will have to look him up in Imperial Armour Index Forces of Chaos from Forge World. And turning to the Children of the Warp section, this is where we will find him on page 49. Now AETAOS is a Lord of War choice, so he is one of your extreme big boy toys to go with your army. He comes in at a power level at 35, which is really quite high. Now, according to the index, for a points value, he is just 700 points. When I say just 700, yeah, you need to refer to Chapter Approved 2018 for his updated points, where he went from 700 to 1,500. Over 200% increase. That is just insane. Now, let's take a look at the reasons why. So he is a unique character, the Slayer of Souls. He has a variable movement, a weapon skill of 2+, a ballistic skill of 2+, a strength of 8, toughness of 8, 27 wounds, variable attacks, a leadership of 10, and a save of 3+. He's an immense demon who can slash at his foes with his warpfire shrouded talons, or lay them to waste with the power of his sorcerer's staff of cataclysm. And he's a unique character, so you can only take one of him, which is probably quite fortunate. So let's look at his degrading damage profile because he has more than 10 wounds. Between 13 and 27 wounds, he has a move of 20 inches, 6 attacks, and very much like Magnus and the other Lords of Change, he has a psychic test bonus of +2 at that category. At half damage, between 6 and 12 wounds, a move of 14 inches, reduced to 4 attacks, and +1 to his psychic bonus. And when he's really a bit battered, between 1 and 5 wounds remaining, he has a move of 8 inches, 2 attacks, and 0 to his psychic test bonus. He comes equipped with the Staff of Cataclysm, Warpfire Talons, and a Cataclysmic Strike. The Staff of Cataclysm then has a range of 60 inches. It's an assault type weapon of 2d6 number of shots, strength 9, AP -4, and a flat 3 damage. The big thing about this weapon is it can be fired within 1 inch of an enemy unit and can target enemy units within 1 inch of friendly models. This means it can fire basically like a pistol, but can also fire into other combat. The other big bonus, if a unit of at least 10 infantry models has its last models slain by this attack, a unit of 3 Flamers of Tzeentch is immediately placed within 6 inches of the slain unit and more than 1 inch from any enemy. He has 2 melee options then, which are the Warpfire Talons. That's a strength of user, so strength of 8, an AP of -3, and does d6 damage. Any hit that rolls a 6 for its wound roll immediately inflicts d3 mortal wounds on the target in addition to any other damage. Or you can go with a Cataclysmic Strike, which is strength ×2, which makes him strength 16, an AP of -4, a flat 3 damage, but against vehicles, buildings or monsters that becomes a flat 6 damage. He has no other war gear options, but has several abilities. As a Demon Lord, this model has a 4+ invulnerable save, but he also has Ephemeral Form, which means we can add 1 to that invulnerable save, giving him a 3+ invulnerable save. He has the Archdemonic Ritual, and what this means is that because he is so powerful, summoning units of this power using regular demonic ritual rules is all but impossible. And so a variant rule, which is the Archdemonic Ritual, has been provided. If your army contains a model with that ritual rule, then he may, instead of being deployed normally, be summoned like other demons to the battlefield, although with greater risk to the summoner, as befits the power of the rather large demon they're trying to summon. So in addition to the regular demonic ritual rules from the regular 40k codex, we have the following alterations. When attempting an archdemonic ritual, the summoning player must first declare which unit they are attempting to summon by name beforehand, and only characters with the same mark can be summoned. So this is pretty standard. This is going to be any Tzeentch character that has the demonic ritual ability. When attempting to summon a unit using the Archdemonic Ritual, roll up to 9 dice. This is your summoning roll. You can summon one new unit with that Archdemonic Ritual ability to the battlefield that has a power rating equal to or less than the total result, so as long as it has the same Chaos God keyword. The unit is treated as reinforcements for your army and can be placed anywhere on the battlefield that is within 12 of the summoning character and more than 9 inches away from an enemy model. The total roll is insufficient to summon the named demon. The ritual fails and no new unit is summoned. If your Archdemonic Ritual summoning roll, this is the 9 dice, include any doubles, your summoning character suffers a mortal wound. If it includes any triples, then the summoning character is slain immediately. The summoning can still be successful even if that character still perishes in the attempt. So you need to have a little think about the numbers that you require here. So what you're basically rolling is the number of dice that you think you're going to score 35 on. Now, if you do a bit of math hammer on this, you should know that the average of 2 dice is 7, which means the average for 10 dice will give you 35, which is 1 more than you've got. So you're going to have to roll slightly over the average on your 9 dice to get that power of 35 ability, but that also means the likelihood is your character's going to get absolutely whoop-assed and be killed as he summons AETAOS'RAU'KERES to the battlefield. His next ability is the Emissary of the Great Mutator, which means you can use this model's leadership for friendly Tzeentch units within 9 inches of this model when morale tests are taken. Very much similar to a regular Lord of Change. He has Mantle of the Twisted Fates. Any successful manifested enemy psychic power directed against him is reflected back on a 5+. The effects of the psychic power are ignored and the manifesting psychic player suffers a mortal wound. So basically he has the ability to bounce powers back, nullify them, and then potentially cause a wound on that psyker. He has the Render of Veils, which means he can re-roll any failed attempt by AETAOS'RAU'KERES to invoke a demon ritual. So although we're looking at those 9 dice, we do have a re-roll available to us, but it says you may re-roll any failed attempt, which to me would mean re-rolling all 9 dice, or whichever number of dice you are selecting. His next ability is Dark Jealousy, which isn't really an ability, this. At the beginning of any of the controlling player's shooting phase, any Lord of Change or Demon Prince within 12 inches of AETAOS, roll a d6, and on a 4+, the Staff of Cataclysm's ranged attack must be used against the closest Lord of Change or Demon Prince model, friend or foe, contrary to the usual rules for selecting targets. AETAOS cannot be the target of his own Dark Jealousy ability. Basically, he's not very nice. He doesn't like other Lords of Changes or Demon Princes around him. But 12 inches is quite a low range, so it shouldn't be a big issue on the battlefield, just something to be aware of. Spiteful Demise is his final ability. When this model is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6 before removing him, and on a 4+, he explodes with massive sorceress energy, and every unit within d6 suffers d6 mortal wounds. So yeah, he goes up with a big bang. He is a Psyker and can attempt to manifest 3 psychic powers in each friendly phase, and attempt to deny 3 psychic powers in each enemy phase. He knows the Smite psychic power like all good Psykers do, and 3 psychic powers from the Tzeentch discipline, which is straight out of the Warhammer 40k Demon Codex. Whenever he attempts to manifest or deny a psychic power, he can add that bonus that we talked about earlier, so +1 or +2 depending on his wounds damage. In addition, increase the range of his Smite ability to 48 inches. That's the largest Smite range, as far as I'm aware, in the game. His faction keywords are Chaos and Tzeentch, but as per the FAQ, we now add Demon to that faction keyword. Where his regular keywords are Titanic, Character, Monster, Demon, which is now moved to faction keywords, Fly, Psyker, Lord of Change, and AETAOS'RAU'KERES. As always in this series, I do ask the question, can you make a unit any better than it already is? And if we look at the stats on this guy, we're going to have a hard time doing this. So we'll start with Psychic Powers then. He has the ability to cast from the Tzeentch Psychic Discipline. So we can take a look at things like the Boon of Change, which is cast on a warp charge value of 7, which means that any friendly Tzeentch demon unit within 18 inches, roll a d3 and you're going to get a randomly +1 attack, +1 strength or +1 toughness. All 3 of those would certainly benefit this guy. I mean, you're going to make him either strength 9 or toughness 9, or give him that extra 1 attack, which could make him up to 7 attacks. Gaze of Fate is always my go-to choice within this Psychic Discipline. Warp charge of 6, if manifested you can re-roll a single dice later in that turn. Now for me, with his Staff of Cataclysm rolling an Assault 2d6 number of shots, instead of spending a command point for a reroll, if you do roll under average on there, if you do start rolling, you know, under 7 shots with that, you're going to get a free reroll without spending a command point by casting Gaze of Fate. And on those rare occasions where that tremendous strength of either his strength of 8 or potentially his strength of 16, you need Flickering Flames to give +1 to wound. Very, very rare that that's actually going to come into play in a regular game of 40k if your opponent ever lets you use AETAOS. So of his 3 powers that you have the ability to take, those would probably be my go-to options here. As a named character, he cannot take any Hellforged artifacts, so we can skip that section. But he is a character, so you could make him a warlord. So we could give him Born of Sorcery, giving him +1 to any psychic tests, which would give him that +3 bonus, +2 or +1 at all times. Incorporeal Form, to reduce the damage inflicted on your warlord by 1 to a minimum of 1. Always pretty handy because he is going to be drawing lots of guns towards him. Warp Tether, you can reroll failed morale tests for friendly Tzeentch demon units within 9 inches of your warlord. But let's be honest, when you've got a 1500 point model in a regular game of around about 2000 points, you're not going to have many other units available. Lawkeeper of Tzeentch, add 6 inches to the range of the first psychic power manifested by your warlord in each psychic phase. That can give your smite a hefty range of 54 inches. Probably the most useful one then is Tyrant of the Warp. Roll a dice each time your warlord suffers perils of the warp, and on a 2+, the warlord's psychic mastery is that they do not suffer a perils check. There are a couple of stratagems that could benefit him. The first one being Magical Boon. For a single command point, you get to immediately manifest an additional psychic power. As he does know 3 in addition to smite, you want to be casting your extra power. That certainly could be an option. For 2 command points, the Locus of Conjuration. Use this stratagem at the start of your psychic phase. Select a Tzeentch demon character, which this guy is, from your army. Until the end of the phase, you can reroll any failed psychic tests made for friendly Tzeentch demon units within 6. So he's going to get those rerolls to his psychic powers. But let's be completely honest, this character is ridiculously powerful. He has the power to destroy titans, which equally means that titans have the power to destroy him. So let's talk about how best to try and kill him. He has a 3+ invulnerable save, but he cannot ignore mortal wounds. He has 27 wounds to chew through though, and trying to cast Smite against him or any other method of causing mortal wounds is going to be a surefire way to give him some damage. But yeah, you need to start degrading him pretty quick. Conventional heavy weapons that cause multiple damage is also a good option if you can remove his invulnerable save. Now he still has a flat regular 3 save, but if you're firing a las cannon at something that has no invulnerable save, this guy's going to be down to a 6+ save. So that's going to be probably the best option you've got. And to be honest, if someone's facing this model in their army, they're not going to have much else available. Yes, he's a massive target, but let's be honest, they're not going to have anything else to be scoring objectives or anything like that. They're going to be going with a single, all eggs in one basket. And what you could do is potentially try and avoid him. You know, you're not going to be able to avoid his stupidly long-range gun, but if you play the mission, the likelihood is you could come out on top by running away with all the points for the game. And that would probably be my strongest defense against this guy. Can he benefit from any aura abilities? Well, if you're going to be running anything else nearby, you know, from a Lord of Change to a Demon Prince, yeah, you might be shooting your own units, so you really want to try and avoid that. Even though it's a 50-50 chance, that's something you don't want to risk. So any Herald, such as your Fluxmaster, means that you can add 1 to the strength characteristic of a Tzeentch demon unit within 6 inches or more with this ability. So that will actually increase his strength to 9. That gives him a little bit more power. Not that really, you know, strength 8 or even strength 16 when he's chewing through stuff against vehicles, you're going to be wounding most stuff on 2s anyway. So adding 1 to the strength isn't going to do you a huge amount. And the other thing, of course, is the Changeling, which gives you the ability that every point of damage you take, you're going to get a 6+ feel no pain kind of roll against any mortal wounds. So there we go then, guys. That is AETAOS and this mini-series all wrapped up. Yes, he is an utter beast. And imagine playing him when he was just 700 points. And you still had 1,300 points in a regular game of sort of 2K to actually field him. So you're going to have lots of other, you know, parts of your army still available. Now that he's gone to 1500, that shows you how bad the balance was when he first come out. The guy is firing las cannons out of his eyeballs, and then when he gets into combat with that huge move of 20 inches and causing flat 6 damage at strength 16 against armoured vehicles, the guy's making a mess. Combine that with some of his original rules, or some of the other original unit rules, like the Changeling, which also had the ability to make him -1 to hit. The Changeling rules did change to give that 6+ feel no pain type save. But imagine fielding him at -1 to hit with 700 points. Yeah, he was broken. And yeah, as much as I love demons, you gotta face reality that the game needs a little bit of sensible balance. So boosting him to 1500, yes, he can still kill Titans. Titans can still kill him. The reality is you're probably not going to see him in a regular game of 40k unless you're going to play some larger points games. You know, I'm talking probably 3,500 to 4,000 points of a large game. You want to be playing him on a bigger surface than 6x4 if you're playing to that kind of scale. But let's be honest, he's a lot safer to be using in a game of Apocalypse, where this kind of model is going to be a bit more at home, facing against large amounts of Knights, large amounts of Titans, and that kind of arena. But I'd love to know in the comment section what you think of AETAOS. Was it clearly a good move? Yes, it was, right? To move his points from 700 to 1500. Have you ever faced him? Have you got him in your own collection? Why not tag me with those pictures in Instagram or on Twitter? I'd love to see your versions of him. There doesn't seem to be that many versions floating around on the internet when I was doing my research of good painted examples. There are a few out there, but not that many. So I'd love to know what you think of him in the comment section below. But if you enjoyed this little series, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I shall catch you guys on the next video.